Hello, everyone, and welcome to our new series, The New Financial Basics. I'm your host, Holly Trantham, Creative Director of TFD. This episode is going to be all about building wealth, even when you are currently broke. But first, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Fizz. Instead of giving you out-of-touch boomer financial advice, this series is all about the financial building blocks that actually matter to our lives in the 2020s. And whether you're still in college, starting your first full-time job, or simply just getting your money together for the first time, the most important thing is to make sure you have the right tools for where you are right now. That's where Fizz comes in. Fizz is the #1 credit and money app for young adults. Whether you want to build credit, manage your money, or have no idea where to start, Fizz is there to help you every step of the way. We're obsessed with Fizz's credit building card with built-in budgeting. Unlike traditional financial institutions, Fizz doesn't stick you with any late fees, interest rates, or minimum deposits. And you don't need a credit check or cosigner to apply for a line of credit of up to $1,000, making it one of the most accessible options for people without an established credit score. Fizz also puts smart limits on your spending by connecting to your bank account so you won't go overboard, without you even having to think about it. And whatever you spend is automatically paid off from your connected bank account every day, so you don't build up a big balance over the course of the month. Take the guesswork out of your spending and join over 100,000 other members to kickstart your financial journey. Click the link in our description box and use the code TFD to get your 30-day free trial of Fizz. Now, I want to be very clear here that there is a big difference between being currently or temporarily broke and being actually poor. We don't use those terms interchangeably here on The Financial Diet, and this video is not meant to address the impact of living in systemic poverty. What it is going to do is give you some guidelines for starting your long-term financial journey on as much of the right foot as possible. Again, even if you just don't even have savings yet. So when you're just starting out in your financial life, whether you're maybe still in your 20s, working your first real job, or even still living at home, it can feel impossible to imagine building up long-term wealth or working towards a big nebulous future goal like retiring one day. And you might be drowning in student loans or dealing with low entry-level pay, or even just trying to make rent in a city like New York where it's really normal for people to be paying over 50% of their income in rent. But being broke now does not mean being broke forever, especially if you are still early in your career and are thinking strategically. So these are some of our go-to steps for starting to put together those building blocks of building real wealth, even when you're starting from zero. #1 is hold on to the philosophy of living like a student. I don't mean, eating a cup of noodles or sleeping on an air mattress until you're 35. I do mean that when you are just starting out, you most likely don't have certain expectations for your lifestyle yet, or at least those expectations aren't set in stone. And the less you get used to certain luxuries, the more money you're going to be able to free up in your budget over time. Essentially, you want to avoid the trap of lifestyle inflation, or as it's often referred to, staying off the hedonic treadmill. Chelsea dove into this in our most recent video essay, but the hedonic treadmill is the most accurate way to describe our relationship with consumption. When you ascend to one level of being able to consume, let's say moving to an apartment in a swankier part of town, that will only keep you happy for so long before that thing, which is objectively a luxury, starts to feel not good enough for your life. Then you have to ascend to the next level of luxury, an even bigger apartment, a car so you don't have to take public transportation, a cleaning service so you don't have to do your own chores, etc. Living like a student now means avoiding getting stuck on this treadmill by keeping your fixed costs low. If you can keep your fixed expenses, things like rent, car payments, and subscription services, as low as possible, you give yourself more financial breathing room. And that breathing room is what allows you to save more and eventually ultimately invest. For instance, if you lock yourself into a $1,900 apartment just because everyone else is doing it, versus a $1,200 apartment with roommates, that's $700 a month you could be using to pay down debt, build an emergency fund, or start investing. Over just 1 year, that's more than $8,000. Building wealth simply means having a strategy for the money you have that you don't spend. And the more you avoid the pressure to upgrade your lifestyle, the easier that is. Now, this obviously does not mean you have to avoid making any upgrades to your lifestyle, especially when it really positively impacts your quality of life. But it does mean getting honest with yourself about what is a genuine necessity and what is an absolute luxury. Next is focus on your income early in your career. As I mentioned earlier, the whole point of spending less is to save more. And the higher your income grows over time, the greater overall potential boost to your savings and investments. But the importance of negotiating your salary or freelance rates early on in your career is not just to have more money available to you now, It's also to increase your total income over the course of your life. For instance, someone who negotiated their salary up from $40,000 to $45,000 and enjoyed an annualized rate of growth of 5% over a 45-year career would earn about $750,000 more during the course of their lifetime than if they'd stuck with that first offer, according to calculations conducted by ZipRecruiter. So focus on getting those raises, take into account the best salary negotiation tips you can find, utilize the information at your disposal, like asking your peers what they're making and researching the market rate for your job, and create a rule for yourself early on. Every time you get a raise, you automatically increase your savings or investment contributions before you touch the rest of that new money. That way, you are building wealth in the background, and anything left over is a bonus, not a baseline. Next, take advantage of whatever financial privileges you have available to you. When we talk about privilege, it's really easy to picture trust fund kids on a yacht whose parents gifted them money for their first condo right out of college in the West Village of New York City. But sometimes privilege just means having the ability to live at home if you need to and not pay rent, or having parents who can still keep you on their health insurance until you're 26, or graduating with minimal student loan debt or no student loan debt. Now, you may not have any of those things, but if you do, use them strategically. For example, living at home rent-free could be a very big stepping stone towards achieving a big financial milestone. If you do have the ability to cut a big expense like rent out of your budget temporarily, treat that as an accelerator towards a big financial goal, maybe saving for a down payment or saving up for a big cross-country move that you want to take. On the other hand, if you're living at home and you're still broke and have nothing to show for it despite having a 40-hour-a-week job, and it's because you're spending all of your money on impulse buys or nights out and not helping your family or something like that, that's a clear indication that you're not taking full advantage of something that could be a huge financial head start. And remember that building long-term wealth does start with small habits, which brings me to our final point. Invest now. Don't put it off even if you're only setting aside a tiny amount for now. Thinking you'll have time and more money to invest later is only hurting your future self. Let's look at some numbers. If you invest $2,000 a year, which is just $166 a month, from age 19 to 27, and then don't save anything again beyond that point, and assume your investments yield an average 10% rate of return over the course of your lifetime, you'll end up with $1 million by the time you're 65. On the other hand, if you wait until 27 to start saving $2,000 a year and then save continuously for the next 38 years, you'll end up with $800,000 by age 65. In other words, you would make $200,000 more by the time you're 65 if you started investing at age 19 and would have only had to save for 8 years total, versus starting at age 27 and saving for 38 years straight. That's crazy. That's a really crazy number. I redid reading that whole line because I thought I read it wrong the first time. It's the time in the market that matters just as much, if not a lot more so, than the consistent investing over time. The more time you give your money to grow, the larger it will probably grow. And that's without increasing your investment contributions over time, which you still should do. Even if $100 a month right now is a huge stretch, start with $10 a month. Set up automated direct deposits from your paycheck if you can, so that you never even see that money as available to spend in the first place. Wealth building truly, really does not happen overnight. It's important to give yourself as much runway as possible. So even if you are pretty broke now, just getting in the habit of saving and investing means you're going to better set yourself up to improve your financial situation over time. And remember that investing does not have to be difficult or intricate. Your investment strategy could be extremely simple and mostly consist of buying up one type of index fund. And we'll link you to a video explainer that dives into that more deeply. And I'll see you back here next week on another episode of The New Financial Basics. Bye.